drugs because every time I had a drink, I wanted to do drugs. It was like the worst possible outcome. I promised to myself that I was going to make big changes and I was going to take as many women with me as I could.
Welcome to the Soul Awakening Academy podcast series. I'm your host, Anne-Marie Mayers, and founder of Soul Awakening Academy. The stories you'll hear are from our master spiritual life coaches and energy healers, women who have gone to the brink of burnout and found the spark within themselves to turn their pain into their greatest purpose. So sit back, relax, maybe grab a pen and a piece of paper as we share their vulnerable stories of adversity to strength, and maybe you'll take some practical skills and strategies you can implement in your life now. And for a thank you, if you want to tap into your unique spiritual purpose, join the 3-part masterclass series below and let me help you find your level of greatness. Okay, so welcome, Niki Kindsella. I was just trying to get your surname right, welcome. It's so lovely to be interviewing you as part of International Women's Week. So we've extended it out because we've got so amazing women, inspirational women that have been through Soul Awakening Academy, you being one of them, because I've just seen you absolutely catapult your business, which we will talk about, but you've done such amazing things. And the theme that you've chosen today is loss to leadership. So all the interviews that I've done, we've been really deeply inspiring, and women sharing their stories, telling them how life is. You know, there's no gloss around how sometimes breaking points and loss and trauma and pain can be the catalyst for our greatest breakthroughs in life. So going to open the floor. I'll just read your bio so people get to know a bit more about you, what you stand for, etc. We'll lead into your story, and then we'll just see where the conversation takes us. Share some words of inspiration and tidbits for the people watching, listening. So, Niki Kindsella is an intuitive, spiritual, and business coach for women wanting a holistic approach to moving through their blocks. Her speciality is helping woo-woo loving female entrepreneurs to remove limiting beliefs, get out of their own way, and put your earmuffs on, everybody, feel fucking amazeballs and smash the shizzle out of their goals in a way that sets their soul and business on fire. A lover of supporting women to connect to their own inner voice, make business and life decisions that feel aligned, and to shine their light in their own unique way. Niki combines spirituality, mindset work, and business coaching to empower female entrepreneurs to overcome their limiting beliefs and emotional blocks, to do the things they want to do without giving a fuck what other people think. I'm just toning it down a little bit. Niki and myself, we are potty mouthed out there coaches, and you know, take us how you find us, basically. But Niki, just share a little bit about the theme and really what was the catalyst for where you are today.
Thank you for having me. I'm honestly so excited to be here and that you even asked me. I was like, oh my God. So if we're toning it down, do I need to watch what comes out my mouth?
No, you can speak freely.
Okay. Oh God. So loss to leadership. Oh, I don't know where to start, really. It started with losing my biological dad about 8 years ago. And I didn't realize what an impact that would have on me. So I was on my spiritual path. I'd started my healing journey. I'd found things like Reiki and yoga. And I was trying to stop drinking and taking drugs every weekend. That was like my theme that had been for like the past 20 years. So seeing the light at the other side, like literally realizing that there were other things that made me feel just as good, that didn't make me feel as bad for so long. So yeah, my biological dad got a cut on his leg, which led to an ulcer, which led to, in a nutshell, liver failure, and then once he had his liver transplant, all of his organs started failing and his body developed this autoimmune disease and very, very quickly shut him down. And he was 57. Really young, but he'd always been like the life and soul of the party. Back in the 70s, he was in a band called Buster, and he played the drums, and he was a singer, and he was always like, you know, here, there, and everywhere, and really big energy. And to see him in this hospital bed, he lived in Germany, so I'd gone over to see him, as this tiny little frail man with like no hair. His eyes used to be gorgeous and brown and shiny like yours, Anne-Marie, and they were like grey. They'd lost all their colour. He had a tracheotomy, he had a colostomy bag, all the horror. He was hooked up to about 14 machines, and I was like, how has that happened? Like, from being so vibrant and alive. And then I was there with him for 2 days. He couldn't really speak properly because he'd had his tracheotomy, but he did his best. And then 2 weeks later, I got a phone call to say that he'd passed away. While I was there, I can just remember joking because he hadn't walked, so we had like no muscle on his body or whatever. And I was saying, like, when he was getting out, I was going to put him in a backpack like Yoda and carry him up the stairs. And he was talking about what he wanted to eat because he hadn't ate food for about 6 months. He'd been on like drip fed, so he was talking about steak and mushroom sauce and the smell of the onions and all these things. And he never got to eat another steak, you know, and he never got to go up the stairs again. And that was like a massive kick up the arse for me to really make me. I applied for redundancy in the bank that I'd worked in for 15 years, and I'd already started my yoga journey, becoming a yoga teacher. And I left the bank, and I can remember thinking, like, life's far too short to because you just never know. That was off a cut on his leg. I can remember coming home and saying to my mum, you know, don't you be going anywhere. And she was like, I'm not going anywhere. And then one day, me and my little girl were going out. We just shut the front door, and my mum literally screeched the car in front of the house, got out the car and sat on the wall and burst into tears. And I was like, why are you crying? I couldn't get a word out of her for ages. I was like, who's dead? Who's died? Like, has someone died? Anyway, she'd had this pain in her shoulder for about 4 months, and she'd started waking up with little puddles of water in her mouth, and she had this cough that the doctors were like, oh, it's just a viral thing, and you've pulled your arm because you work in a restaurant, and it's a nasal drip because of how you sleep. Anyway, it wasn't. After various tests, 2 months later, she was diagnosed with stage 4 terminal lung cancer. And you know, have you ever watched Charlie Brown when the teacher's going, wah, 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 wah? I can remember being in the room with the oncologist, and the Macmillan nurse was in there, and my mum just grabbed my hand as if to go, what the fuck? Like, this, the angel of death, she used to call them, the Macmillan nurses, and the knockers, the beautiful women. But she was in the room, and my mum was just staring at me while this doctor was like, yeah, so Jan, it's stage 4, we can do this and we can try this, and this is the next step, and you'll be starting treatment on Monday, and blah blah. And she was just staring at me. And we went out the room. I even put my lucky top on with all my flowers on and my daisy earrings, and I was like, you're gonna be fine, Mum. And it was like the worst possible outcome. And then 12 months later, like, she was gone.
Yeah.
And I can remember looking at her after she passed away going, how the fuck did that happen? She never got to go to the Maldives. She never got to move back to Egypt to live with her husband, all the things she never got to do. And that moment in that room was like a rocket up my arse. It was honestly, I can still remember it like it was yesterday, going, holy fuck. Like, I can't, that I need to move fast. You know, if anyone's going to make any changes, it needs to be me. No one can do it for me now, because my mum was always there. She was my rock. She was my best friend. She'd always got me out of trouble. If I ever needed any money, she'd get like a loan for me. She never judged me. Everything was always all right. You know, even if I'd gone on a 2-day bender, or she was like, oh, it's okay. And it wasn't, like, it really wasn't. I needed, I think the best thing that ever happened was my mum going, because I would not be doing what I'm doing now. And I think all the shit that we went through, and all the past narcissism and all that I was involved in, led me to the moment where I was like, right, we've been through all our bumps, and it's time to I made like a promise to myself that I was going to make big changes and I was going to take as many women with me as I could, because I knew what it was like to feel alone and to feel scared and lost. And as I was learning things, I mean, you were a massive part of my journey.
Oh,
Finding you was honestly one of the best things that ever happened to me, because you made it be safe to be around women, because it never had. You were like a really strong, good, kind, like person that give a shit, that was heart led, that wasn't just after people's money. And you know, it was
oh, thanks, Nikki.
no, it's true, because I think I'd been bullied my whole like childhood. So being around women or girls had never felt safe.
Right.
And you taught me some really big valuable lessons about charging my worth, and some of the courses that I did with you, and like believing in me and helping me to become a teacher.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you're a massive part of that. So thank
Gosh,
you.
life takes you on so many different like merry-go-rounds, doesn't it? And like as a mum, as a wife, do you know what I mean? Like having those like major losses in your life must have made, you can well, you can go whichever way you're gonna go, right? You know what I
Mhm.
mean? But you made a choice to like go, right, okay, this is my life and I need to make some changes. What did it do to you being a mum, being a wife, and thinking, I mean, I don't know, did you think to yourself, am I even in the right job here? Like, how did it make you kind of like look at your life, the life that you were living, and make you kind of change course?
Um, I'd already started to change course after losing me dad. So I'd left work. That was like the big rocket up my arse. And I was really lucky because my husband was really supportive, and he was like, whatever makes you happy. He's dead easy going. You know, he loves being the provider. So he's always like wanted to support, and there was never any like pressure to do anything. It was always like, well, we'll be all right because we're always all right. So do what makes you happy. So really lucky. Um, and then I got a little bit of redundancy money from the bank, which helped me to create a little bit of a yoga studio and Reiki room downstairs in the house. We did the basement out. And then I had started my yoga teacher training. I had to do the exam 3 times because my head was so far up my arse when I was trying to do the anatomy and physiology and all the names of the muscles, with my mum like dying of cancer in the background. And I was like, they're like some of them are like Harry Potter, Labortus Quadrorum or something like that. I was like, oh my God, I'm never going to need to know these names. But anyway, I passed it in the end. And I was really lucky because I didn't have the pressure of work. I worked for myself. Yoga actually helped me to get sober, and it helped me through grief, like the breath work and the movement, and just allowing myself to feel. Um, I'd really I'd really started to be kind to myself, and I had a gorgeous group of yoga girls as well that like came to all my classes. And you know, we did yoga on the dips in New Brighton in the summer, and they were all really really supportive. So it was like a little community that I'd created as well. But I was really lucky that I had the support. The big thing was like the stop and drinking. That was the hardest. But um I put a yoga class on a Friday night, a yoga class on a Saturday morning, and a meditation on a Sunday. So I was like, oh, I can't drink, I've got work. Because people used to look at you and be like, who do you think you are? You know, you were the party queen and now you're not having a drink. But I couldn't, because every time I had a drink, I wanted to do drugs. So I
Mm.
didn't want to do that, and that's why I stopped. And I wasn't a big mess, but it wasn't what I wanted to be doing. It wasn't like affecting my children, or no one was in any danger, or you know, it wasn't like to that extent, but it wasn't good. And I think you can either be over here spiritually like high vibe, or you can be down here with all the drink, and you can't. I was swinging the pendulum, so I'd be all right for a couple of weeks, and then I'd go out and I get wrecked, and then it'd take me ages to get back there again, and then I'd go out and I get wrecked. And I was like, I need to. And it was do you know Tony Ann Martin? She's a
Yeah.
Reiki master. Yeah. So she was doing reflexology for me at the time. I got a gift voucher off the yoga girls when my mum died. And I went for this reflexology session. And honestly, it helped me so much. So I ended up staying with her for about 2 years. So every month I'd go and she'd talk, and she was obviously really intuitive. And one day she said to me, "You've got to make a choice." She said, "You can't keep doing this to yourself." She's like, you're being shown the way that you need to go, and you've got to decide if that's what you want to do." And I was like, okay. So yoga and Reiki, like yoga helped me get sober, Reiki helped me to release, and then there was all like the subconscious stuff with the quantum healing and
Yeah.
unpicking stuff and inner child and all the other things that I've discovered since that have just been amazing.
Yeah. So what you're basically saying there to people is really you need to commit to the work, and by doing setting the sessions, your teaching sessions on the days where you know you've got a potential to self-sabotage, and making a choice to commit to that path is like really empowering, because you're helping yourself get out of the habitual behavior, and you're creating a new habit, which is commitment
Yeah.
and showing up in the way that you want to show up. And that takes dedication, doesn't it? That is not easy to do.
No, so hard. So I'd come home from a yoga class on a Friday night and everyone would be out drinking. And they'd be like, "Come on, it's not too late." And I'd be like, "I just want to get a bath."
Mhm.
So I'd get a bath. And then by 10 o'clock, I was like, I've got a class in the morning. I can't. So I put things in my way purposely because I know what I'm like.
Mhm.
So I was
That's
really,
really good advice. That's good advice to people though, isn't it? You know, it's like, how do you break a habit, especially when your environment is so kind of everybody's like, come on, it's fun. And that's the person you've been, because if you don't mind, Anna, I don't need to go here if you don't want me to, just say, but through different conversations and work that we've done together, your life wasn't easy, was it?
no,
Growing up. I know you
absolutely not.
talked
No,
about
share away. It's fine.
there was other stuff, wasn't there? Other traumatic stuff that you were exposed to in your early life, and
Yeah.
as well as like the bullying and things like that. So your path wasn't plain sailing at all.
No.
So you, as we do, you know, we create a circle of friends where they become our family. And you know, we're used to being a certain way, they're used to seeing us, and they're used to us being a certain way. And then all of a sudden you want to start like breaking away from that,
Yeah.
you know, which is in itself, it's like a sacrifice, isn't it?
Oh,
Because
it is because people see it as rejection.
yeah, and you could lose those people. And like you say, the judgments can come up. Then you start to feel bad. People can make you feel bad. Oh, you're not spending time with us anymore. Gone off us, have you? You know, it's all of that. The bullying can kick in again.
It was exactly that. And a lot of it was, and he won't mind me saying, was from my husband because he'd lost his drinking buddy. So he was like,
Hmm.
I don't want to drink on my own. I don't want to do this. And I'd be like, well, go and find someone because I don't want to do this anymore. And I had been on a lot of antidepressants and a lot of like beta blockers and things because what goes up must come down. I was struggling physically as well. I had a lot of sciatica and lower back pain. I had like IBS symptoms and a constant throat infection. And when you look at the chakras,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
wasn't feeling safe. I wasn't, honoring my own energy, and I was never speaking up. But it's so hard um to try and say to people, it's not you.
Hmm.
Like,
Hmm.
I'm not rejecting you. You're, you do you over there and I'll do me. And what it's done is it's strengthened my relationship with my husband
Hmm.
because now he doesn't really drink. I'm not
Wow.
saying that's because of me, because he's nearly 50, so he's having bigger hangovers himself. But because I'm not doing it, it's easier for him to not do it, if you know what I mean. And I'm not saying like at all that that's because of me, but he's found golf and he's got other things. So he would rather get up on a Sunday morning and go and play golf and feel amazing and just a bit tired and achy when he comes back, but not like shit for the rest of the week.
That's amazing. Because I was going to say, like, how did you manage to maintain your relationship? Because, like, typically and potentially, typically, the two can break away.
Yeah.
When somebody's really trying to up level, like you, where the partner can just kind of
It was so
really
hard.
pull back and
It,
not meet you there. But it sounds like that's happened.
it did, but what happened to me was I swapped one addiction for another. And I think we've had this conversation. So I swapped like going out and drinking for work because when I was
Yeah.
working, it was okay. So I was just working all the time. And then I was having like, I wasn't burning out because I had the tools, but it was because my brain was always fizzy all the
Yeah.
time. I was like thinking and planning and growing and doing this course and that course. And I'm still doing things now. But at one point, Mikey was like, can you just look at me? Can you
Oh,
I'm here. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, I'm so sorry. Because I'd just forgotten everyone. Like the kids would come up and try and talk to me, and I'd go, I'm working. I'm working. And now I put everything down and go, what? What?
yeah.
Just give me 1 minute. Let me finish this. And then I'm all yours, and I'll give them my full attention, because I didn't realize what I was doing. And we don't sometimes, do we? Like, I'm absolutely not perfect. And he'll still say to me now, why are you on your phone? And I'm like, you're on your phone, you're playing fucking golf. What's the difference?
I get that, like, you know, and it's a good point, isn't it, for women in business, you know, especially online businesses or just businesses that we can run from our phones or laptops, whether we're seeing you are accessible 24 hours a day. And like you and I, we're very motivated. You know, we've got a lot to give. We want to produce and we want to look after people as well. And I know the boundaries because you and I are similar. You know, you kind of overgive, probably learn my boundaries a bit better now. But you know, back then when you and I were kind of building our businesses, you know, COVID was hitting, everything was
Yeah.
changing, everything needed to move fast. Boundaries were just, you know, and says it all, that face.
Yeah, I'm still shit. I'm better. I am better because I don't feel like I've got that urgency. I think, well, this can wait, because what's important? Why am I creating this life? I say to myself, like, what am I looking to do? It's to create freedom to do the things that I want to do when I want to do them. So when I'm out for a meal with my family, I shouldn't be replying to a client. I should be with my family, because they can just wait, and they will wait, because it's 8 o'clock on a Friday night, which isn't normal business hours. So it's about, does that need to be answered right now, or can they just wait till tomorrow? But I'm a absolute pain in the arse knobhead, and I'm like, oh, I just need to, because I'm a manifesting generator. I go
Yeah.
with the energy. I'm a responder. You ask me a question and I'm like, oh, it's this, or I'll get an idea and I'll be like brain fart while I'm sitting there trying to pay attention to what my kids are saying, going,
I
yeah.
know what you mean. I totally, and I was guilty of it myself last night, 8 o'clock out with the family. Somebody had asked me a question on Instagram and I can't help because I don't want them to feel ignored. I'm like, I'm thinking, don't
Yes.
expect a response until tomorrow, for God's sake. You're not a robot, like you do need, yeah. So I get you. I'm not there yet with the boundaries, particularly. But yeah, but what would you say to like women listening to this and thinking, I would really like to start my own business. I would really like to leave the job that I've been in for 15 years. You know, I realize life is, you know, I've only got so many more years left to go. Who knows what that is anyway.
Yeah.
And I really want to pivot in my life. What would you say to them who are sitting on the fence going, I don't know if I could, I'm scared, it might not work out?
Exactly. And it's just starting, isn't it? And something that somebody said to me years ago, it was Lisa McMurtry, actually, she was one of my first
Yeah.
business coaches. And she said, you don't need permission.
Mm.
And that set me free for the rest of my life, just
Mm.
feeling like I had to, like, trust yourself. If it feels good, if it makes you want to like pea glitter everywhere and you can't stop thinking about it, and you've slept on it for a few days and you still can't get the thing out your head, and you've
Mm.
got that fire in your belly, like, just do it. What have you got to lose? And life is so short, isn't it? We like you've just said, we never know the minute.
No.
So for me, it was just follow the joy, like follow what lights you up, and just keep doing those things. And you absolutely, I've got nothing to lose. There's either a lesson or a blessing in everything that we do, isn't there? So
Yeah. I always think like sometimes I say this to clients, you know, if you feel you've got two choices, two paths, just see yourself going down that one, the one that you're on. Tell me what happens in the timeline there. How does it end? Then see yourself on this one and
yeah,
what happens on the timeline. How does it end? And then, you know, you kind of make your own mind up then. What do you feel like you changed your life? You could have stayed where you were in the bank You had a comfortable job, I'm sure you'd been there, you knew everybody, 15 years, freaking long
Yeah.
time. You were in, and it was probably going to be a job for life. You've probably thought was that
Yeah.
this is a job for life. What do you think that has done to the positive ripple effect on your kids and your next generation to come?
Do you know what? I'm probably gonna cry now because it's just gorgeous. Like my kids are proud.
Yeah. Oh,
And
yeah.
like Daisy Googled me in
I love
she's like,
that.
look, my mum's famous. Look, there's the book. My mum's written a book and my mum's done this. And I was like, "Bleh." And like
Oh my God,
even the
that's cute.
it is gorgeous. And then Indy is like, Mum, you're showing me that I can do anything. Um, and that they can be anything. And Daisy wants to start her own interior design business when she's older. She's like, I don't ever want to work for anyone else. And she sees me being at home, doing the things that I love, running retreats all around the world, just
Yes.
being happy at
Yeah,
work.
I love that. Yeah, that I mean, if you're going to be an inspiration to someone, start with your kids
Oh,
because they're your biggest fan. They're looking off at you with their big open eyes and going, and all they're thinking is because they learn behavior. We all model behavior. So those 15-year lifelong jobs were the modeling behavior we did of the older generation who modeled off their generation before. But now that's not like that. Freedom, flexibility, all of that. It is available to people in a way it wasn't available before. So actually seeing your own parents do it, achieve it, be successful, change people's lives. I mean, just imagine like your kids' brains just opening up to a
yeah.
world of possibilities when us as kids were like that. We're either
We
going to
haven't got enough.
doctor, dentist,
Yeah.
what are you gonna be? Like, I don't know, a rebel? I'm gonna be a rebel.
Not that, yeah. I
So,
mean, they think I'm a weirdo because I dress up in all my costumes and do all mad shit, but they're like, it's showing them. I hope it's showing them to not give a shit what other people think and just do what makes you happy because I just have so much fun, you know.
yeah.
Um, but Daisy said something the other day, and we were like, we're gonna go out for a meal and blah, and she went, oh, I love that we're rich. And I was like, fucking hell. I wish I never said it. I never said it. But I was like, I'm glad you think we're rich.
I know, I know, I love that. Um, what would you like when you think about the way that your life is going now and you look back when we get to our golden era? Don't even know if we're actually in it now. I don't know. But when we get
Really there.
when we're the golden girls and we're looking back, what do you want your legacy to be or have been?
Oh God. Um, I want to leave an impact. I want people to remember me so I've just started franchising part of my business, which is a spiritual school. I want to create a sisterhood of like heart-led women that create a ripple effect across the globe. That's really what I want to do. And in the next 10 years, I really I want to open 40 franchises, which
Yeah,
would make me about 5.5 million. Oh no, make me a million, but I think in the next 10 years with the revenue and everything we worked out, I
yeah,
could sell it for about 5 million. And I was like,
that's
if I
amazing.
look at where I've come from in the last 5 years, so 5 years ago, just to put it in perspective, I made £4,000 for the
Yeah,
whole year doing yoga and little bits of Reiki. And last year my turnover was 154.
yeah.
It's not profit, it's turnover, and it's
Yeah,
very different, isn't it? But the difference in growth.
that's what I mean. Like the opportunities are there for people. Some people think, oh my God, I'm never gonna, or they think an annual salary is comparative to what it might look like for them working in corporate or whatever job that they do. But when they get into this world or they, online, it's just an open door right now for opportunity for people. It's incredible. So let's just feed into the impact that you're making with your work. Do you notice a theme of the women that come to you? Is the same issues coming through? Is it self-worth, self-esteem, confidence? What do you feel is drawing these people to you? What do they want to work on?
I think they feel stuck and they know they've got a lot of shit to work through, but they feel like they've been judged before, and I think because I'm very open and just sort of say it as it is and down to earth, and I'll share anything about anything that I've been through.
Yeah.
Like the vulnerability side, I think that attracts a lot of people who have been through the same sort of narcissistic abuse, don't believe that they're enough, or aren't clear on where they're going, and they just like, they're not happy, but they don't know what needs to change. So it's like helping them to listen and trust themselves. So that's what I love doing, is just helping people to like awaken and connect to that spiritual side of themselves. Because I used to think spirituality was like religion, and it's absolutely not. It's you finding your light and your soul and who you are and what lights you up. And that just makes me so excited, just watching them go, I'm going to do this. And I'm like, yes, fucking do it. You know, like,
Yeah, seeing people's potential. If somebody was listening, well, for the people who are going to be listening or are listening, what 3 words of wisdom or something they can implement in their lives today? Anything that you have to share?
oh God, there's so much I want to share, but I think something that I have to tell myself all the time is you are enough.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
Because we think we need to be this or we need to do that before we can do this, but actually exactly where you are, you can start from wherever you're at. You
Mhm.
are already enough.
Yeah, I love that. And quite often, been an overachiever or perfectionist and whatever, and it's always because in the back of your mind you think somebody's going to look at it and go, "This is shit."
Yeah,
This is shit. So you're
yeah,
like, this from my experience, retweet constantly, like trying to make it perfect, and
yeah,
that can lead to like really mental
yeah.
exhaustion. So yeah, you are enough. It's such a big takeaway for people. So, final couple of final questions. If you were to wake up a billionaire tomorrow, what impact would you still want to make on the world? What energy would you want to pump into the world?
Oh my God, I'd create loads of holistic hubs in each of the cities around the world, and I've got a plan, because I want to open a CIC for people that can't afford to franchise, but to
Yeah.
still help them with like becoming a Reiki teacher or whatever it is they want to do. So I would open these holistic hubs, the Healing Academy headquarters, they'd be called, and
Mm.
it'd be for women who had been in like domestic abuse or narcissistic relationships, or had like mental health problems and needed or wanted to start their own business but didn't know where to start, and they'd be able to go and they'd be able to get the mindset support and the training and the accountability and the sisterhood. And so I'd just be, oh, I've got goose pimples.
I love it. I'm
I'd
so
just
excited because I can see you've already thought about it.
yeah.
What an amazing plan. I love that, Nikki. That's so cool. Last question. What impact would you say that training with Soul Awakening Academy has had on your life or your business or your clients?
You were such a big part of my, I want to say, awakening, because I think we teach in similar ways, and that's probably because you were one of my teachers, but you are very much like, how does it feel for you? And like everyone's different. There was never any sort of, what's the word? I don't know how to describe it. I just feel like you brought out the best in me, like you saw me and you've made me feel like I was enough.
Yeah.
Um, and you helped me, yeah, to grow. So I just think the Soul Awakening Academy, you just give so much.
Oh,
You've got
thank
that gorgeous nurturing side of you as well.
Well, I'm so happy to hear that from you because the way that you've blossomed and grown, and if I had any part in that,
You're in
I'm
my
so
book. You're in the back
oh,
bit of my book,
oh
yeah.
my
Saying
God.
thank you.
Oh, mate, that's so nice. Thank you so much. I absolutely love that. I didn't know that, and I'm actually honored to share this space with you today. Thank you so much for your
Thank
time.
you.
And your story is going to be an inspiration to so many. You already are a massive inspiration to so many people. So I can't wait to get this interview out there for you, Nikki.
Thank you for having
Thank
me.
you,
It's
my
been an
gorgeous
honor.
friend. Oh, take care, my love. I'll see you soon. Big hugs.